From stories across the world to stories here at home, this is the National News Broadcast. A very good evening to you. I'm Nitya Sar Chandra.
Good evening, I'm Clifford Richards. First of all, we take a look at the headlines.
The website of the US Embassy in Sri Lanka carries a report stating that pertaining to the MCC agreement process, 2 financial grants had been provided to the previous regime. The public given the opportunity to study the final report of the MCC Evaluation Committee. The Premier states that a broad mandate of the people is needed to decisively defeat both local and foreign conspiracies. The election campaign of the United National Party commences, deploying modern technology. Curfew lifted completely, face masks mandatory. The first stage of reopening schools commences tomorrow.
And now moving on to the stories in detail. A report published on the website of the US Embassy in Sri Lanka in 2018 states that pertaining to the MCC agreement process, 2 financial grants were provided to the then government in office in the years 2017 and 2018. However, recently the US Embassy in Sri Lanka voiced a contradictory statement. The final report of the committee appointed to evaluate the MCC process also states that under the previous regime, monies were received pertaining to the MCC process. The Millennium Challenge Corporation or MCC agreement has been a topic of political dialogue over many years. Widespread attention was given to the topic once again on the 25th of this month when the final report of the MCC Evaluation Committee was handed over to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. In the report, the point that gained focus was the surfacing of details that 2 stages of the MCC agreement had been signed in 2017 and 2018. The final report further states that thereby the United States had granted the then government $7.4 million and $2.6 million respectively. However, account details in this regard cannot be found in records. The US Embassy in Sri Lanka on the following day in a post on its Twitter account stated that monies were not granted under the MCC process to the then government. The tweet further stated that since the MCC process was not complete, the granting of funds to the government of Sri Lanka was not actioned. However, many news websites today reveal that the report that is in contradiction with the tweet was published by the US Embassy on its website on the 13th of June 2018. The report published by the US Embassy back then states that the MCC Managing Director overseeing the Asia Pacific, European, Latin American regions, Caroline Nguyen, toured Sri Lanka in June 2018 and signed an agreement with the Sri Lankan government pertaining to the MCC process. Here is an extraction from the said report. Quote, during the visit, Managing Director Nguyen joined the US Embassy Deputy Chief of Missions Robert Hilton at the Ministry of Finance to sign an agreement to provide an additional $2.6 million to finalize compact development. This amount supplements the $7.4 million grant that MCC provided in July 2017 to support feasibility studies, unquote. The report of the US Embassy further states that on behalf of the government of Sri Lanka, the then Minister Iran Wickramaratne and Minister Kabir Hashim joined in signing of the agreement.
Now, on a similar note, the public has been given the opportunity to study the final report of the MCC Evaluation Committee pertaining to the Millennium Challenge Cooperation Project. Now, the President's Media Division states that the report can be accessed through 3 websites. The websites are www.president.gov.lk, www.presidentsoffice.lk and www.pmdnews.lk. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa on the 1st of January appointed a 4-member committee to evaluate the MCC project and submit a report. The committee was headed by Professor of Economics at the University of Colombo, Lalita Siri Gunaruwan, whilst the other members were former Secretary to the Transport Ministry Dr. D.S. Jayavira, President's Counsel Nihal Jayawardena and Chartered Architect Nalaka Jayavira. The final report of the committee was presented to the President on the 25th of this month. The President instructed the Presidential Secretary to publish the report for the public view.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa states that a broad mandate of the people is needed to decisively defeat both local and foreign conspiracies. He says that the people's mandate should be given to a force that can protect democracy, upgrade the economy, and also ensure public security.
දෙදස් පාලුවේදී යහපාලන ආණ්ඩුව බලයට ආවට පස්සේ හතුරු හමුදාවක් විසින් ලංකාව ආක්‍රමණය කරලා බලය අල්ලගත්තා.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa said that the situation that prevailed in this country following the assumption of power by the Yahapalana government in 2015 was akin to have been taken over by a hostile foreign invading force. He said that the previous government systematically persecuted the nationalist political camp in this country. He added that the Yahapalana government jailed leading Buddhist monks on trumped-up charges in order to intimidate the Mahasangha, which has always been at the forefront in protecting the sovereignty of this country. The Prime Minister said that the US government also moved to demoralize and render ineffective our armed forces, which defeated terrorism and ensured the territorial integrity of the country. He added that selected members of the armed forces, ranging from the lowest ranks up to the Chief of Defence Staff, were arrested, kept in jail for weeks, months or years, and cases were filed against them or trumped up charges. He further said that the intention behind all this was to create the impression in the minds of the local population and also to convey to the world the idea that these were not war heroes but thieves and murderers. The Premier said that if the Yahapalana cabal had won the 2019 presidential election, they would have implemented all this and finished off Sri Lanka. He said that the present government needs a strong mandate at this election to conclusively defeat these conspiracies. He said the public can recall that at the end of 2018, when the Yahapalana government began to break up, diplomats of certain Western embassies said the visitors in the gallery in the parliament had applauded and cheered the Yahapalana speakers' efforts to protect their investment. He added that the public must bear in mind that even though the conspirators lost the presidential election, they have not given up their quest. The Premier said that he wishes to state the country is right up top in the world in controlling COVID-19. He then questioned if the Yahapalana cabal had been in power, would they have been able to bring the COVID-19 under control in this manner? He added that the present government is able to distinguish what is important from what is unimportant and always have the broader picture in mind, as the people will always be the winners. He said that they witnessed the manner in which the Yahapalana cabal made a hue and cry over the comment made by Karuna Amman to the effect that he had been responsible for the deaths of thousands of soldiers in attacks on army camps when he was in the LTTE. Those now in the Yahapalana camp have lorry loads and gave lorry loads of weapons and gunny bags full of cash to the LTTE in 1989 in a foolish attempt to win them over, he added. The Premier further added that for years afterwards, the LTTE attacked us with our own weapons. In 2002, the Yahapalana camp virtually ceded the northern and eastern provinces to Prabhakaran through the ceasefire agreement. Furthermore, he said that the Yahapalana government drafted a new constitution to divide the country. He said that Karuna may have given up murdering people, but the Yahapalana cabal has not given up trying to divide the country. The Premier emphasized that if the people cast their votes on the basis of various minor distractions, the people will lose everything: the country, the national identity, religion, culture, and also the future of unborn generations. He added that the people should always ask themselves who can govern the country effectively, ensure economic development, eliminate terrorism, and ensure security of the nation, who can safeguard democracy by holding elections on time, and who can build Sri Lanka where future generations will be able to live freely and be proud of. He said that he has no need to spell it out, as every Sri Lankan knows the answer to those questions.
Now, the United National Party launched its election campaign from the party headquarters, Sirikota, today. The chief guest was UMP leader Ranil Wickremesinghe. The meeting, which was held aided by digital technology, aired at 160 locations over wide screens. In addition, UMP supporters were able to view the meeting over social media. Leader of the United National Party, Ranil Wickremesinghe, noted that this is no ordinary election, as it is an election which focuses on strengthening the household economy of the people. Therefore, it is not an election concerning a person or a political party. The UMP leader noted that therefore, at the election, voters need to support the party that is able to secure the future of the people by securing the economy of the country. The UMP leader observed that economies around the world suffered a setback due to the spread of the coronavirus. However, the governments of the affected countries took steps to uplift its people and restore their economies. The leader of the UNP pointed out that the government of the Bhottu party that has been in office for 8 months has not been able to address the situation and has failed in this respect. UNP leader Ranil Wickremesinghe noted that the government of the Bhottu party has not provided any solutions to the issues and that the only party that can resolve all such issues is the United National Party. Now, commenting on the accusations voiced by certain factors that the UNP is having deals with the government, the UNP leader stated that the party has not arrived at any such agreements with the government or the Bhottu party. He made it clear that the deal of the UNP is with the people of the country, as it is only the United National Party that can shape the economy, uplift the rural economy, enhance the revenue of the people and strengthen the household economy of the people. UNP leader Ranil Wickremesinghe called on the citizens to vote for the United National Party by placing the cross opposite the elephant symbol on the ballot paper.
The women's representative wing of the Progressive Collective that represents the National People's Power states that women should not fall to the level of being mere decorators of political platforms. They expressed these views at a media briefing held in Colombo today. President of the Organization for Women for Rights, Saroja Savitri Paulraj, said that women have been deceived by false election promises and have been reduced to the level of being mere decorators of political stages. She pointed out that the country has fallen to the level that around 600,000 newborn infants are indebted by 600,000 rupees. Thereby, she calls for an end to the type of politics where each politician tries to become a king. She notes that at the forthcoming parliamentary election, women, especially mothers, should cast their vote bearing in mind the future of the country's children. Well, schools will reopen tomorrow after a lapse of over 3 months. However, the Education Minister states that students do not need to attend school tomorrow. Schools remain closed since 13th of March due to the spread of the COVID-19 virus. Dhamma schools and tuition classes were also halted. The first week of the recommencement of schools has been set aside for disinfection and other related activities. Therefore, during the first days, only the academic and non-academic staff need to report for duty. Under the second stage, schools will reopen on the 6th of next month, on which students of grade 5, 11 and 30 need to attend the schools. Under the third stage, which will be from 20th of next month, grades 10 and 12 will recommence their classes. In the fourth stage, which will commence from the 27th of next month, schools will reopen for students grade 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 and 9. The Ministry of Education states that the dates on which classes would recommence for students of grades 1 and 2 will be notified later. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa participated in religious activities at the Sri Venkateswara Vishnu Devalaya in Modara this morning. After conducting religious rites before Lord Vishnu, Devala priest Saumya Vasudevan Madhavan conducted a special Ashirvada Puja for the Prime Minister.
Now, in the meantime, a discussion with Deputy and Assistant Election Commissioners of all districts was held at the Gampaha District Secretariat, presided over by Chairman of the Elections Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya, today. The discussion focused on the process of counting votes. The observations conducted by the Deputy and Assistant Elections Commissioners during the elections rehearsals were discussed. Chairman of the Elections Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya, said that the focus is on holding the election on the 5th of August and carrying out the counting of votes continuously on the 6th. They were considering on going into an additional day. However, the Elections Commission's chairman noted that when observing the rehearsals carried out so far, it is possible to state that the task can be completed on the 6th itself. However, he pointed out that additional time will be needed to issue the results of preferential votes, and it may even involve an overnight counting of votes. The chairman of the Elections Commission further explained that voting will begin at 8 a.m. on the 5th of August and that they hope to announce the total number of votes obtained by political parties and independent groups by 10 p.m. on the 6th.
A JVP local government councillor in the Rajangane area and a group of activists in the Frontline Socialist Party have decided to pledge their support to the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. They pledged their support at a rally of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna organized by its Anuradhapura district contestant Professor Channa Jayasumana yesterday. Well, this group that pledged support to the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna also included the only JVP councillor of the Rajangane Pradesh Sabha, K.G. Nandasiri, chief organizer of the Frontline Socialist Party of the Rajangane area. K.A. Seniratna also joined the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna.
Now moving on to more local stories, the President's Media Division states that curfew will be lifted completely with effect from today. Curfew was initially imposed on the 20th of March in a bid to control the spread of the coronavirus. Since the 13th of June, curfew had been in place from 12 midnight to 4 a.m. daily. Meanwhile, the total number of fully recovered COVID-19 patients in the country stands at 1,661, and this is a percentage of 81.62. The number of patients undergoing hospitalized treatment stands at 363, accounting for 17.83%. 2 new confirmed COVID-19 cases were reported today from amongst returnees from Pakistan and India. Amongst the 910 Navy personnel that contracted COVID-19, 823 personnel have recovered fully. This is a percentage of 90.43. The number of naval personnel undergoing further treatment stands at 87, accounting for 9.56% of the COVID-19 Navy cluster. A group of 51 expatriate Sri Lankans stranded in Dubai and Qatar arrived in the island today. They were subjected to PCR testing at the airport. A group of 288 migrant Sri Lankans stranded in Belarus also arrived in the country today. A group of 104 Indian nationals who were stranded in Sri Lanka left for India this evening. They were part of a maritime staff of a vessel anchored at the Galle harbour. Now, the police state that legal action will be taken against those found not adhering to health and safety guidelines, including the guideline to wear face masks. Legal action will be taken under the quarantine law and criminal laws of the country. Now, in the meantime, a program to save the youth addicted to narcotics in the Colombo district was initiated at the Hunipitiya Gangarama Vihare today. The program has been titled Yovun Pibiduma. Now, the program was launched upon the instructions of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. The objective is to bring an end to narcotic gangs and organized crime committed by drug addicts. The program is underway under the guidance of Chief Prelate of the Gangarama Vihare, Venerable Kirinde Asajit Thera. The event was also attended by Senior DIG in charge of the Western Province, Deshabandhu Tennakone.
Well, upon information revealed in the interrogations of arrested police personnel of the Police Narcotics Bureau, assets used in the drug trade have been discovered. At the end, in fact, at the Minuangoda residence belonging to the former sub-inspector of the Police Bureau. A car and a motorcycle used to transport narcotics were discovered together with the cash worth 940,000 rupees, 4 credit cards, a GPS mobile phone and a SIM, a satellite phone and also a dagger. 4 police personnel of the Police Narcotics Bureau were arrested recently on charges of maintaining connections with drug dealer of the Minuangoda area. It was revealed that these police personnel in question had earned over 30 million rupees through the drug trade. The police personnel and a civilian are currently in the custody of the CID upon a detention order. Well, that's all we have for you tonight. Do enjoy the rest of the programs. Take care and good night.
Good night.